Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream for January 14th. We are back with FansUnite, FANS on the CSE, FUNFF over the counter. We have Scott Burton, CEO, Darius Agdami, President. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hi, Jack.
Darius, how you doing?
Doing very well. Thanks for having us again.
Fantastic, fantastic. We got a full audience here right now. We got a lot of excited people here in the crowd. So we got what's going on here? We got let's go fans. Yeah, a lot of people are pumped for the stock. So what we're going to do today is because again we're at the start of a new year. We're at January 21. We're going to do the slideshow, get the official story out. We'll come back for Q&A. And then we're going to have you guys back for like more of a live chat, an extended audience Q&A, in a week or so with some news. So again, for anybody that's new to the program, our goal at Wall Street Reporter Next Super Stock live stream is to bring you those stocks which have 10x to 100x upside potential. These are companies going after multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. They have multiple catalysts in place, and they're at a key inflection point right now, ready for explosive growth. Fans has been a great example. The stock debuted on our program, I think, at 30 cents. It was back in late summer, right before September. Hit up at we're at $1.25 today, making new highs. So let's see if fans could be that 10 bagger or 100 bagger. So with that said, guys, watch the presentation, ask Darius and Scott your questions, and then decide for yourself if fans is going to be that next super stock. With that said, guys, I'm going to disappear, and you could, let's see, let's get the slides here. And
awesome. Perfect. Well, thanks, Jack. I think Jack read our first slide for us, which is very helpful. For those guys that are new, so we'll walk you guys through this story, the arms of our business, the accomplishments we've had over the course of the last 6 to 12 months, and then where we plan on going from here over the course of the next few years. And then we'll open it up to Q&A, and Scott and I are always reachable after our presentation as well if you guys want to reach out and chat to us. So right now, just a bit about the industry. I mean, everyone knows the gaming industry is booming, right? So we're operating in a multi-billion-dollar industry. Estimates of 150 billion wagered online. Estimates of trillions being wagered across the world in gaming. So we're operating in a huge industry, and it's continuing to grow every day, right? With new jurisdictions opening up, which is why we're excited, right? We think we're still at the kind of beginning of the gaming industry, especially with the U.S. market. So something we're very excited about, and we believe that. Not just with the industry, we believe FansUnite as a company is at a major inflection point for us. So Scott and I and our team, we've been building technology, and we've spent millions of dollars building our tech over the course of the last year. And we have a few arms to our business that are now all being validated by paying customers, people using our technology, people playing our games, which is why we think we're at an inflection point. All arms of our businesses are now revenue generating. We've just raised a nice round, and so for us, 2021 and beyond is really just growth and scale. That's what we're focused on. We're focused on execution, and again, we'll walk you through all those arms of our business, and we'll walk you through some catalysts as well, some milestones we've already achieved, but some more milestones that are coming up for us in the next, in both the short term and the long term. And so just to give you guys a little bit of a picture of what our company looks like. So FansUnite Entertainment, that's the public vehicle. We're listed on the CSE under Fans. We're listed on the OTC QB under FUNFF. And then below are some of our assets. So the Chameleon's our technology platform we'll walk you guys through, our Ascot Games division, and then some of our own B2C brands that we run and operate in various parts of the world. And so for those of you the guys that don't know, we completed a merger. So Scott and his team Ascot with FansUnite, which was the public vehicle, we completed a merger, and we announced that in June, and it completed in August. And since then, it's just been focused on execution. The M&A transaction was really seamless, which is awesome. Scott and I have known each other for over 7 years, which I think is what made the transaction so seamless. We have a great working relationship together prior to that, and of course now moving forward. So as part of that merger, we completed a $5 million broker financing. We oversubscribed that. In August, our deal closed, and we were right at work right away. So we announced our first partnership in September with Gameco, and it was big for us because this is what got our technology into the US market and probably accelerated our plans by 1 or 2 years and a few $1 million really, because we weren't planning on entering the US market this early. It was a state by state, it's expensive, it's time consuming. But when Scott and Gameco partnered up there to bring our technology in with their licensing strategy and their network with casinos and sportsbooks in the US, it was a huge milestone for us. And you'll see later on that we did announce our very first deal in December with a Sky Ute casino in Colorado. And then, so in October, we signed our first deal with a casino aggregator. So the Ascot Games division is something we'll talk about today. And we signed our first deal with the EAR platform, which is an aggregator that has over 120 different sportsbooks, which potentially gets our games into, again, hundreds of sportsbooks. That's just the first aggregator deal we've signed. We're hoping to get a few more this year, which will hopefully get our games into thousands of different sportsbooks around the globe. Later on in October, we announced that McBookie had their record month. This is a company that's been around for over 10 years, a company that we acquired earlier on in 2020. We have huge hopes for these guys. We think there's so much potential for McBookie in the Scottish market, and October was a record revenue month for us. Over $7.5 million was bet on the platform across the casino and the sports book and the live casino virtual sports, and we had over 600 grand of revenue there for the month, which was awesome. In November, we made a decision to uplist to the OTC QB. We had a lot of potential investors, a lot of guys who were really interested in our deal, so we decided to uplist to the OTC QB, get more access to the US markets and the global markets, getting on new shareholders into the company. And then December, the last 45 days for us really has been massive. So we first got our 2 licenses in Malta. That's something that's been in the works for nearly a year. Stringent technical audits, of course, and due diligence from a tier 1 jurisdiction. But we got both our B2C and our B2B licenses in Malta, which allows us to operate in Europe. We'll walk through our licensing strategy later on in the presentation. And then we announced, as I mentioned, the first deal with the Sky Ute Casino in Colorado. So that was our first activation with Gameco to bring our technology into the US market. We're looking to launch that pretty soon. This will be the very first dedicated esports sportsbook in the US market. So that's why we're super excited about that. And hopefully it opens up the door for us for other states and other casinos around the states. And then as mentioned, we went out around mid-December and launched the financing. We announced about $5 million within, I think, 12 hours. We upsized that to 11 and closed the books right away. The investor demand there was strong. It was amazing. And we closed on Monday for a total of 13.4 million. So we're cashed up right now. And as mentioned, it's just a continued about execution, focusing on the business, all arms of our business. And I'll pass it over to Scott right now to actually walk you guys through some of the group highlights and then walk you guys through both our B2B and our B2C platforms.
Yeah, thanks, Darius. Yeah, just on the group highlights. So Darius touched on a few of these businesses. So on the one hand, we've got the B2C side of the business. We operate a few brands ourselves that go direct to consumer, mostly opportunistically. So we look for niche markets or regions and go after. So McBookie, for example, focuses on the Scottish market. Vamos focuses on the Brazilian market. And then we have a couple of free-to-play customer acquisition tools with FansUnite and esports bets. So with the B2C Live, we've had over 350 million in betting volume. We've got B2B deals signed. So we'll talk about the B2B business that we do for our software. Combined, all of our own sites have over 300,000 registered users. And then we've signed a couple of major partnerships with some major brands. So to talk about the two sides of the business, we'll start with the B2B, which is business to business. And this is where we license our platform, which we call the Chameleon Gaming Platform, or we license our casino style RNG games under Ascot Games. Starting with Chameleon, this is really a full turnkey solution for anybody who wants to be in the betting or iGaming online casino space. So we have everything you would need to launch a betting brand that covers risk management, it covers gaming licenses, it covers the hosting. For players, it covers age, identity, location verification. And then we just plug in the different components that people are looking for, whether it's sports betting, esports betting, casino, horse racing, all of that is there. So we can do this either as a fully licensed product. So if somebody doesn't want a gaming license, we can sub-license licenses to them. If they do have a license, then we can just do a software arrangement. The revenue model here is great for us because it's a guaranteed monthly minimum. So we get a guaranteed monthly recurring revenue. And then we have the unlimited upside. So we do a revenue share as well. So as our partners grow, as their revenue grows, we take a percentage. So the upside is uncapped for us. On the game side, Ascot Games, we introduced last year, so late last year. And what we're building here is games tailored for sort of the next generation of online casino player. So we are really strong in the esports space. So we have a keen focus on the demographic, which would be 18 to 30-year-olds. It's probably the most desirable demographic in the gaming space. What we found was a lack of casino-style products that appeal to the same people. So the people that we're able to attract to bet on esports, we weren't being able to flip them into the casino because we just didn't have the games, or the providers didn't have the games we were looking for. So what we're trying to do here is build games that either have esports themes or video game look and feel. Some elements of control in some of these games, not all of them, but we do have some that are more gamified. So we are up to our fourth game now. So we launched 2 last year. We announced the third and the fourth. So we're just completing fourth testing. And then the distribution model here, as Darius mentioned, is through the aggregators. So once we plug into an aggregator, they access hundreds or thousands of online casinos and sportsbooks. So it scales up really well. So we produce a game once, and then through these aggregator relationships, we can tap into thousands of sportsbooks and casinos and millions of players. So we'll do a little demo here. If you want to check these out later, you can go to the Ascot Games site, ascot.games, and you can see. So a big focus for us moving forward is to focus on getting these into more aggregators. So this will show the first 4 games. I'll just let it run here. You can get a sense and then visit the site. So this is Titan Gems. It is a manga-themed reel spin game. So what you would kind of look for in more of a traditional casino-style game. So we have a few of these, but appealing again to the gamer demographic. And the next one is Crash Heist. So this is what they call a crash game. So here you're breaking into a bank vault, loading up with cash. Once you place your bet, that multiplier, the timer, is multiplying your cash. So if you don't get out before that goes off, you lose all your money. If you cash out at any time, you win that amount of money before you go. So here, the user won. This is Team Vortex along the same sort of game style as Titan Gems. This is a futuristic first-person shooter themed game. And then the next one is called Loot Hunter. So I'll let it pop up. So Loot Hunter was built on the loot case concept, which is very popular in gaming. So games are free to play, microtransactions by buying these loot crates. So we're kind of playing off that theme. So you buy keys, you open the crates, and hope you win a prize that's more valuable than what you paid to play. So those are the games we've got now. So the push now on the business development side is to move those into more aggregators. We were looking for a stable of 4 to 5. So we're at that point now, and now we really focus on the business development. So a big piece of business this year will be Ascot Games going forward. As mentioned now, the B2C is where we go direct to consumers. I'm just going to show a couple of them here, just for time's sake. But McBookie.com is really the flagship of our B2C operations right now. It was an acquisition that FansUnite did earlier last year. As mentioned, we're really building out the infrastructure around the team that was already there. So they've been around for 10 years. We're already seeing great results. We had our biggest month ever in October. It's a big year for Scottish soccer coming up this year with the Euros and Scotland being there. So expecting this to be the best year that McBookie's ever had. We are looking to move them onto their own UK license. So right now they operate under a sub-license of a provider. So we're working to move that. So we'll change the cost structure and save quite a bit of cost out of McBookie this year. So not only are we expecting to grow the top line revenue significantly, we do expect to take quite a bit of cost out of that business from some of the providers they've been using in the past and bringing them onto our infrastructure. And then Vamos. So this is an esports first, whereas McBookie is more of a traditional sports book. This is an esports first product. So this just shows our capability of leveraging the technology we own and the licenses we have. So with Chameleon platform, we can launch brands in literally days, depending on what localization is needed, but localization is key to what we can do. So we can look at a market like Brazil, which is a very strong esports market, and do a product tailored specifically for that area. So that involves language, it involves payment methods, it involves the partnerships we do. So we can increase conversion rates significantly by being in Brazilian Portuguese, for example, focusing on payment methods that are specific to Brazil, and then acquiring talent around, say, video game streamers to promote the product in their home language. So we can reduce a number of things, but the focus on localization is key. And we wouldn't be able to do that without owning the infrastructure and the licenses that we have. So we're just getting ready to push the marketing on this. It has started now, so people can access this site in Brazil. And so on the B2C side, I think we'll see a lot of growth both with McBookie and then a couple of new brands such as Vamos. Here's a look at what we call sort of esports betting, and we were really early in the space. So back in 2014, we started building esports betting products. So when you think of sports betting, I think a lot of people just think of a spreadsheet-looking page with fixed odds. You go in, place a bet, and leave. Again, we're focused on that 18 to 30-year-old gamer demographic. So we show the streams. You bet real time. So what you're seeing on the right-hand side is bets that are coming in every 20, 30 seconds, settling within a few minutes. So we really want people to stay on site and engage, and that's what we do on the esports betting side. We do have what you would expect from traditional betting, which is still going in and placing a fixed odds bet, but we're looking for a much more engaging product, and that's what we've built with the esports stream betting. And then to support all this, licensing is extremely important, and we've got a long history of doing licensing ourselves and getting licensed in some of the top jurisdictions. So just a run through where we're at today. Darius mentioned in December, we acquired 2 Malta gaming licenses. So Malta is in the EU, and it's one of the oldest gaming jurisdictions in the EU and a tier 1 jurisdiction. So we went there. We were previously in the Isle of Man, decided to leave the Isle of Man to go into an EU jurisdiction. So the 2 licenses we received, one is a B2B, which is allowing us to sell our software to other operators that are in the EU. The next one is a B2C license, which it'll allow us to operate our own brands direct to consumer, but also offer the white label solution where if somebody wants to run a brand of their own, if they maybe have a large user base, something they want to monetize through betting or casino, but don't want to go through the process of getting licensed and maintaining a license, we can sub-license to them under our B2C license. Curacao, we have a partnership in Curacao that is licensed to use the Chameleon platform. So if anybody's looking to license out of that jurisdiction, we can do the same service there. We can do a full white label solution, turnkey, and get people up and running extremely quickly under a Curacao license. Then with the UK, I mentioned we have McBookie now that's operating on someone else's license under a sub-license white label agreement. They didn't have the infrastructure around them before to get a license themselves. So that's one of the things FansUnite brought when they did the acquisition. So we're in the process now of obtaining a UK license. So that'll open up the UK both on a software side and a direct-to-consumer side. We'll save quite a bit of money in terms of the McBookie cost by having that internal, as well as being licensed in the probably #1 online gambling jurisdiction in the world. The US is the market everyone's really interested in right now, just with the repeal of PASPA 2 years ago, which is what is allowing the states to make their decisions on if they're going to allow sports betting. So we're up to, I think, 26 now. Everyone's expectation is that we'll be approaching 50. We weren't necessarily going to go into the US right away because of the sort of fragmented model. We don't intend to be a direct-to-consumer player in the US because of the large brands that are in there now, FanDuel, DraftKings, MGMs that are going to be spending hundreds of millions on customer acquisition. We intend to go in as a software provider. How we accelerated that was through a partnership with GameCo that Darius mentioned. So GameCo is licensed in a number of states already. So we've partnered with them to come in under their licensing and then offer our services. So far, it's working well. We've announced the first one in Colorado, and then we hope to expand through the US through that GameCo relationship we have. And then Canada is a new one that's popped up for us. So we are a Canadian-based company. We do have people in offices spread around the world, but in Canada, it's really been a market that we have been excluded from for government reasons, regulatory reasons. So the first thing that happened was Canada is changing the betting rules to allow for single event betting on sports, which means before you could only bet on multiple games outcomes. You couldn't just bet on one match. So that's one change that's coming. And then the expectation is Ontario first, the largest province we have in Canada, is going to open up to outside operators. So right now you have to be, provincial lottery corporation or provincial government group to offer any betting or casino or lottery. Ontario is looking to give better consumer choice by opening up. So we expect that this year, hopefully, is when the first province will open up, and then others will likely follow. So we think we're well positioned from one location perspective, being here, having good relationships across the country. But also the fact that we know they're looking to jurisdictions like Malta and the UK for guidance, and we've already gone through both of those regulatory regimes. So I think we're positioned to move very quickly if and when Canada makes that change. And then going forward, we'll be opportunistic if we see regions that are adding regulations and it'll make sense for us to go in, then we will do that. As I said, we've got the team, the infrastructure to be able to go into these highly regulated areas and operate pretty quickly. So let Darius come in and finish on the team and the rest of the story.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Scott. So when we did complete our merger with Ascot in August, we decided to revamp the board. And as a junior company at that time, to get the type of board members we did with the three that I'll explain right now was a huge achievement for us. Just showed us the validation of what we're trying to achieve here. So we were pretty fortunate to get these type of guys on the board. Harish was a former president of Paddy Powered Betfair for Asia Pacific, which is part of obviously the Flutter Group now, which is the largest gaming company in the world. He specializes really in strategic M&A in the online gaming market, helping companies go into new jurisdictions, both on the B2C as well as the B2B side. Great government relationships, and has huge amount of network in the Asian markets on financing as well as other gaming companies. Chris Grove joined us as well. He's a partner at Others and Kreitcheck Gaming in the U.S., a nationally recognized industry expert, probably one of the top guys in the U.S. market on the sports betting side. Had started multiple companies in the U.S., exited those, and he's been amazing, opening up doors for us in the U.S. markets for partnerships and M&A and financing and even more. And then James Keane also joined us on the merger. He was a founding member of Paradise Poker, which during the poker heydays was, I think, one of the top 3 poker sites that sold to Sporting Bet. He became a managing director at Sporting Bet, and he's currently the CEO of a social casino game developer. So, Scott and I are also on the board, but these type of guys give us a global presence, open up so many doors for us. They already have in the last 6 months and continue to all around the world, in Europe and Asia, in the US market, which is obviously a place we want to wedge ourselves into over the course of the next year or two. And just to summarize the presentation from Scott and myself today, so as we mentioned, we're operating in a massive market, and one that's really growing every single day. And we went public in the beginning at the start of the pandemic, but it's proven to be pandemic proof. People are continuing to bet on sports. When sports halted for that 1 month or 2 months, our casino and our live casino and our virtual sports started to increase, which was awesome. And I think we're really seeing that shift to online gaming with people not allowed to go into the bars or the stadiums. People are playing online right now, which is awesome. And then we believe we're at an inflection point as a company. And as mentioned, we spent years developing technology. Now all those arms of the business that Scott walked you guys through are revenue generating from B2C, from B2B, and then we're continuing to build infrastructure. So with our Malta licenses, going into the UK, into Latin America, into the US market, and hopefully Canada, now we're continuing to build that infrastructure so that we can become a global iGaming company. And then moving forward, for this year and beyond, we're very focused on continuing to get more gaming license. UK will be the next one for us. US expansion, we've signed our first deal with the Skyute Casino in Colorado. We want to sign more deals in the States, continue to operate regulated and licensed sports books and be the technology behind the scenes. We want to get more B2B partners, so as many people as we can licensing the Chameleon technology. That's a big goal for us this year. And then, of course, significant revenue growth on all aspects of our business, from the games division, from B2B as well as B2C. And then the last thing that we really didn't touch on is just with the team we have, the board members, the advisors, and being in the gaming space for decades, we have a lot of access to deal flow, which is great. We are seeing deal flow every day, and we'll be opportunistic on that as well. We'll look at companies that bring us new technology or a good user base, good revenue, good cash flow, and if it makes sense, we'll look at those to provide shareholder growth that way as well. So we're actively looking at deal flow all the time. So thank you guys. We'll get Jack back here and see if there's any questions that we can answer for you guys.
Okay, let's. Here we go. Okay, we got a bunch of great questions coming in. Let's jump in with Andrew Harper. Andrew's asking, does your B2B, B2C growth strategy vary by jurisdiction? Is there potential for B2B growth to be impeded in areas where Fans has existing or planned B2C and is seen as a competitor?
Yep. Yeah, good question. And I guess the answer to the first part is yes. So it does vary by region. As I mentioned, we look at the US, and we don't think that's a place at this time where we're going to want to be as a B2C operator. Again, because of the regulatory environment, the cost structure, and then just what is going to be the customer acquisition and marketing costs doesn't play well for us. So that's where we just look to be B2B in the US, pure B2B. When we look at other areas, when we looked at Brazil as an esports place, because it's a huge esports or has a large esports fan base, and we thought it could benefit from a site that was focused there. We decided to launch B2C there. But what we do is look for local partners that are going to run the marketing and acquisition for us. So we've found a couple of guys who know that space very well, have operated there before, that are currently going to do the customer acquisition side. So it's almost like we create a white label situation in those regions where we still focus on the licensing, the tech, and then find a local partner. But yeah, anywhere where we do expect to see very large growth in a region, we will likely stay out as a B2C operator and focus on B2B.
Okay, question, which branch of your business would you say is currently generating the most revenue, and which do you see taking the lead by end of 21?
Yeah, so we're still heavy, the revenue is coming primarily from B2C operations with an emphasis on McBookie. They're doing really well. So we do expect for this year that to continue, and that will ramp up, and Vamos will hopefully ramp as well. So for the majority of 2021, in terms of the breakdown, it'll probably still be B2C will be the biggest part of our revenue. B2B, as we sign deals, we've got a couple more that we should be coming soon. Those take a bit of time to ramp, so we will get the monthly minimums. But if some of them may take a while till we're growing that monthly revenue share portion. So we expect that to be, more 2022, that type of growth. I guess the wild card is as we launch and release the games, if those hit, that could outpace anything we've got going around B2C, I think, quite quickly.
Okay. Question. Actually, before we get into this question, because he mentioned esports streamer, I guess he's talking about the guys. People pay to watch these people play. You showed in your demo. You showed the in-stream betting. So you have like new bets coming in. as people are playing the game, as in tournaments or what have you, right?
Yep.
So that really kind of ties in, like right now we're seeing a lot of, there's a lot of, I think it was in the in the New York Times, there's a big articles about like, the millennials now, that's driving the, the whole video game boom, esports, it's bigger than, it's sort of like, what happened was, like 10 years ago, all the millennials jumped from, or everybody was jumping from traditional media into social media. Now those people are jumping from social media into gaming. So that's like the big mega wave, because everybody wants that interaction and everything else. How, like what you do with the in-stream betting, is that something where, is that a unique thing, or are other companies doing similar things? Like how unique is that?
Yeah, so that is our technology. I mean, we're the first ones ever to come out with that and put that on a site live. And currently, I still have yet to see anyone doing it sort of at the real-time level that you saw there. What people will do is show the streams and then have standard bets that are just live once a stream. So they'll call that live in play. It just means you're watching a stream and there's always a bets that are always going to be there. Whereas ours are kind of hyper contextual. So whatever is happening in the game, that actually will dictate what the next questions are, versus what a lot of people call live, which means you're watching and you can bet on something at the same time you're watching, but it's not going to change as the activity changes. So that's a real differentiator for us.
That's a huge advantage, because all of a sudden, it makes like really, live. It's dynamic.
Yeah, and it can take your your average bet count per user from the tens to the thousands. Like the amount of bets that you can offer, if you can do that, it goes up exponentially, and that's really what you want. Is especially when we thought about it, and you look at the user base that is so used to microtransactions. So your average bet size for a typical esports bettor is going to be probably lower than your average traditional sports bettor. But if you can get them to place 100 of them versus 10, that's really what we were going for. So let them bet €1 at a time, but give them 1,000 betting opportunities.
Yeah. I guess it ties into the whole, like, sharing fractionalization. Everybody buys, a tenth of a share of whatever, of Tesla on Robinhood, or so everybody, that's the new thing. So that's fascinating. Now is that your ability to have these like really dynamic in-stream bets, is that like patented, or like how much protection do you have in that, or are you going to constantly develop new innovation to stay ahead of competition?
Yeah, I mean, we just we focus on innovation and improvement on everything we're doing right now. So we don't have patent protection on anything. We have trademarks and things like that. But the other unique thing about it, because we are the B2B platform, is our partners have the ability to run that themselves as well. So what we wanted was, if you're on the Chameleon platform, we'll cover every major event with that stream betting. So you'll have access to that. But if you're in Eastern Europe and you're a betting brand there, and there's a tournament, that we're not going to cover, your team will have the ability to run that style of betting on local regional events. So you don't need us for that. You'll have access to everything we are showing and running, but they can do that themselves as well.
Okay, no, it's so it's interesting, because the I think it was DraftKings. Yeah, we've talked about it before. They're saying that esports, they're expecting this. They mentioned on a conference call, the CEO said that he expects the esports to be like, it might almost be bigger than regular sports betting, and that's kind of so you have a real tremendous advantage. So I want to jump into the internet president. His question: are you planning to sponsor any esports streamers?
Yep. Yeah. So I actually think we're probably one of the first companies in this gambling space to ever sponsor an esports team, going back to 2014, 2015, when we had our first esports site. So we have in the past worked with streamers, and I think it's an effective way to get customers. So right now in Brazil, we are looking for streamers currently to help be brand ambassadors. So we've done it in the past. We will do it again. We have kind of a unique relationship with IMG. So IMG is one of the biggest sports and event management groups in the world.
Oh.
So we're their exclusive esports betting partner. So what that gives us access to
for IMG, the big talent agency.
Yeah. So they bought UFC. So they represent.
Did you ever mention that before? This is the first time I think I'm hearing this.
Yeah, you know what? There's a chance I haven't. Yeah, I mean.
How much good stuff are you hiding? I mean, you
I know.
You guys to become real promoters. I mean, this is IMG is a major. It's a major deal. So explain this partnership with IMG.
Yep. So we're the exclusive sort of esports betting partner of them. So what we do is they basically operate as an arm of our business that will handle things like streamers, teams, and events. And they'll do it for our brands, but also if we have a partner on the Chameleon platform who wants to go after streamers or event sponsorship or team sponsorship, IMG will do a sort of scan of that industry for us. So for example, they'll go to Brazil, come back to us and say, here's all of the upcoming events in esports, here's all the teams, here's all the players, here's the ones that have sponsorship, here's the ones that don't. Then we go say, okay, here's, we like this one or these ones. Then we'll engage, IMG will then go out and approach the teams or the events or the streamers, negotiate the contracts for us with them to be talent for the brands, and then manage that and activate it. So they'll do the activation, they'll do the management. So it really gives us a whole organization to tap into that we couldn't build ourselves. So it'd be a lot of work internally.
It's a major partnership. I mean, it's like
Yep.
So the right example, like in I don't know, but it's a huge deal. I mean, it's IMG.
Yeah, like I said, so if somebody comes to us and wants to go after a region, we can give them help through IMG, get the sort of best contracts negotiated. I mean, they do it for Serena Williams, like they do it for massive tennis stars, soccer stars. They they run all the sponsorship for the World Cup type thing. So it's an amazing group to work with. Gives us great access to anybody. So if IMG calls a professional streamer or gamer, the phone gets.
They take the call. I mean, IMG is like that's you have access to anybody. Sports people, tops, sports, everybody. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to be running a little bit late. I'm going to try to jump in a couple of questions. I think what we're going to do is I'll ask a couple of questions. We'll have you guys back maybe in a week. We'll spend a lot of time on Q&A. Andrew is asking, how meaningful will margins increase for MIG Bookie once the UK license is granted and tech migration finalized?
It'll be meaningful. I can't speak to the exact margin number through because of the partnership they've got right now, but there is a percentage of their revenue that's being paid to someone else currently that will not be paid to them, if we switch. So it'll be a meaningful piece of number for us.
Okay, and Moonbeam, do you have real-time betting for traditional sports?
Yeah, so we don't do it now, but we have the ability. I mean, what you saw there, if somebody gives us the data and the stream or the link, it doesn't really matter to us if it's Counter-Strike or soccer. So the technology would work either way. It's just finding the partner with the data.
Okay. Question from Colton. From the thesis webinar yesterday, can you elaborate on the comment creating the first UFC sportsbook?
I don't recall.
I think it was probably the first esports sportsbook in the US market.
Yeah. So if it was that, yeah, we don't have anything really around UFC other than what McBookie would have. But if it was the first, it could have been the esports sportsbook that is going to be launching in Colorado. With the Skyu Tribe, the Skyu Casino and Gameco. So that's an announcement we made. Was it December? I think, Darius, we made the announcement, and then we're underway in the integration and the installation of servers in Colorado to operate it.
Okay.
UK is it's in process, so it's not submitted, but we're moving as fast as we can to get that submitted.
Okay, let's see here. We got a bunch of people asking about any uplisting to NASDAQ, etc. You mentioned TSXV.
Yeah, so it's on our, I guess, radar for sure. We haven't officially started anything on that, but it's just, I guess, a logical move for us now with the, I would say, the way the stocks perform, the valuations and things, the access to capital. So it makes sense. So we'll be putting plans in place, I would imagine, but nothing has begun yet.
Okay. See, I mean, okay, so right now you're sitting in a bunch of cash. I mean, you're going to have how much, like, the deal, what are you going to have liquid right now?
I think we'll have around 15 million cash, and then substantial amount of warrants as well out there. But yeah, it's a good amount of capital for us. Nice to get that out of the way at the beginning of the year and focus on the execution.
Okay, so what I mean, like, again, once the stock, let's say the stock keeps moving up, you got all this cash. You mentioned that you have some, you're looking at some M&A opportunities. Do you have, like, are you proactive looking at deals, or is it stuff coming in right now, just deal flow coming in from advisors, etc.? Like, and can we expect any, like, transformative deal in the next, let's call it, quarter or so?
So we are getting proactive now. This was, I think, one of the first things to get out of the way and put us in a cash position where we could make a move. So we've had a lot of flow coming at us, but now we are moving to more of the proactive stage to actively look for something. And I would say, transformative is probably in the plans of what we'd like to find. I don't know when we would do it or announce it, but Darius is, the first two Darius did with FansUnite were both transformative, and so I think he likes to do those big deals that are transformative. So it's
Darius, what are you looking at? What kind of deals can we expect? Something transformative.
Well, again, the Ascot merger, definitely transformative. We love the McBookie, so we're looking at those type of deals where we can put fuel on the fire. So if we find
now you have real money. I mean, before you had no money. I mean, now you have serious cash. You have 15 million. You have a stock that's moving up. I mean, you have
it opens the door, for us, for sure, to be able to look at these assets and be a little bit quicker and a bit more nimble to acquire good assets that we think, are undervalued.
Yeah, I mean, you had a lot more firepower that you have now than you had, 6 months ago.
Exactly.
So let's see here. Okay, what we'll do with two questions, and we'll jump to we got to jump to our next presenter. Okay, Moonbeam. Is there an opportunity to partner with FanDuel traditional live in-game betting Super Bowl launch? I'm not sure. What is?
Well, Scott, we do live betting on our McBookie platform. Scott was just mentioning on the Chameleon platform, it's something we are integrating right now, but we do live in-game betting, and I don't think we need to really bring on partners for that. We can handle that technology ourselves because we've already done it in esports.
What do you guys think of this? Tim is asking. So Twitch has "quote unquote" betting in game. I'm not familiar with with channel. Can you integrate with Twitch?
Yeah. I mean, we could. The things with Twitch and the challenges that you would have, and we've faced with them would be one around their terms of service, but Twitch is, I would say, probably hesitant to get into any sort of real money betting, partly because their user base is so one, geographically spread, but also age spread. So there's a lot of platforms like that are really focused on the game community that want to keep real money betting separate from their community. So that's where Twitch has stood in the past. I don't know if that will change. With the US changing their rules, a lot of people are just rethinking how they're going to approach real money betting and seem to be more open to it. So maybe down the road, but in the past, there's been resistance to do any moves to real money.
Okay. Question. Okay. When's the next earnings coming out?
It'll be the year-end audit. So that's end of April, I believe.
Okay. And what about projections?
Yeah, well, the only real revenue guidance we have given is in the coverage from the analysts from Mackie that launched a few months ago. And that's really the only revenue projections we put out there. We projected about $5 million of revenue this year, of 15 to 17 for 2022. And those are hopefully conservative numbers. We have of our executive team, of the 5 members, 4 of them are accountants. So we like to put numbers out there that we think we can hit. You know, we had a goal from 2019 to 2020 to double revenue. We did that. So when we put a number out there, we really hope we can hit those.
Okay, yeah. So 15 to 17 million revenues next year is the conservative estimate.
And that doesn't include bringing on revenue through M&A. And that also didn't factor the fact that now we have 15 million in cash in the bank either. So.
Okay. So yes, okay. So 15. So it's a pretty. I mean, and you've met your targets for last year.
We have.
So you have credibility, and so it's good. So it's okay. So sounds like a good numbers. How many shares are outstanding right now, fully diluted after the financing?
Got to double check after the financing. Undiluted, we're about 156 right now. Fully diluted, I think we're closer to just over 200.
Just over 200, yeah.
Okay, so basically, so it's kind of it's still a little cheap compared to like what some of the peers are trading at in kind of the space, especially the sports betting space. I mean, the multiples are like going off the charts with like DraftKings, Fubo, everybody.
Yeah, I think we're in a lower entry point for a lot of those competitors, and we would put our tech up against any of those. I mean, a lot of them actually don't even have their own tech, right? So we're pretty excited about our position, the team we've built, the technology we've built, the cash in the bank, the pipeline of M&A, and a much lower entry point than a lot of our competitors.
Okay, last question. We're gonna jump to our next guest. Okay, so our favorite question. Top 3 reasons why investors should consider FansUnite. I'll let one of you guys. I don't know. You guys want to do 3 each, or you want to mix it up? I want to do it.
Darius can go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start. I think one is execution. We've, as mentioned, even with our numbers, but everything we've done since the merger in August, when we put our heads down and focus on achieving a goal, we hit those goals. So execution, I think we've shown the market we can execute with the global partnerships, with revenue breaking numbers on our McBookie platforms, with getting new clients on the B2B, delivering our games when we say we're going to deliver. So when we say we're focused on growth for 2021, we expect to hit all our milestones. We expect to get a suite of 10 games. We expect to bring on more clients on the B2B, and we expect to do some more M&A deals. So I think execution is big for us. The team we have right now is very strong. We walked you through some of the board members. We have peripheral advisors as well who are very active in our deal, from everything from legal aspects of the business, from government relationships, operations, from marketing, M&A, financing. We have guys with a tremendous amount of experience. So I think our team rivals really anyone out there. So we're excited about that. And then our technology. And we put up our technology against any other company out there. We've been spending years, millions of dollars, and with a top-notch tech team building out the Chameleon platform and continuing to innovate. So our technology is the backbone of our company, and it's what's going to drive us to the level we think we can get to.
Okay, Scott?
No, I agree with Darius. I mean, I always start with our team, and then just the massive space and sort of momentum that gambling has and is going to continue for the coming years. I think is going to be. I don't think there's another industry like it right now. When you look at the valuations that are happening today, and as I said, you've only still got half the U.S. that's even made an announcement about sports betting, so you still have the rest to go. So I just think there's huge opportunity ahead. So space is big.
Yeah, definitely. Like everything is, all the tailwinds are really in your favor. So okay, on that note, thank you guys. We're going to catch up to you probably next week or so, or whenever you have the next major news announcement.
Yep, sounds good.
Good.
Yes, thank you very much.
Jack. See ya.
Okay, let's get ready for our next presenter. KABN. All right. So we're I guess today's theme is disruptive technologies. We're doing we should have Kathy Wood on here. Let's see here. Okay, so we got fans. Let me just set this up right here. Okay, guys, stand by. Okay. David.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking.
I just want to do one. I just want to set up one little thing here for you, and then we're going to get started. I think we're going to have a lot of Q&A today. We got a lot of people, who have been getting into the stock in the last couple of weeks.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
That'll be fun. Okay, so KABN. Okay, we got everything for KABN set up. Let's see who we have in the audience right now. Okay, fantastic. Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Superstock live stream for January 14th, 2021. We're back with KABN Systems, David Lukash, the CEO. David, welcome back.
Great to be here, Jack. Thanks for having me.
So, David, our our audience, most people I know we have a lot of new people in the audience, but they're all looking for those three things that we bring them with these next super stocks, which is, again, companies going after those big multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. They're at a key inflection point, and really multiple catalysts in place, really at the threshold of explosive growth. And so KABN has been putting out some very interesting announcements lately. Before we dive into it, there's a lot we have to catch up on. In a nutshell, what does KABN do? Just in layman's terms, of what's the market opportunity you're going after? How big is and what are you doing?
So thanks, Jack. It is still early days in the field, but if we look at what KABN does, KABN empowers users to manage their self-sovereign or online identity. We're all about giving consumers at no cost the tools and services that will enable them to take their identity, their wallet, their keyring, and put it online and be able to securely use this and manage, control, and benefit from their online identity.
So in a nutshell, really, it's sort of like, I think maybe in simple terms, it's almost like everybody needs an ID card or a passport, wherever they are in the world. That proves who they are. On the internet, there's no such thing right now. You're the solution.
Right. We are doing what others aren't. We're working with companies around the world to take, basically create what you would use as a wallet online. But we do that through something called Liquid Avatar. So it really is new and innovative, but the market, Jack, is massive. Everyone online.
Everybody who's online.
Everyone's online, right? So think about it, 5 billion people online, and we have an opportunity to capture a significant portion of a market with our solution. It is built. It's been in beta for some months. Some of our technology has been built over the last 3 years, and we're ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. I think, okay. So before we get into, I want to ask you actually, what is self-sovereign identity? Because it's sort of like a phrase that I don't think anybody is really familiar with. I know you've been using that phrase for, since you got on, but what exactly is that? Why is it important?
Well, self-sovereign identity is actually quite simple. When you carry a wallet and a keyring, and I should really have mine with me, but when you carry a wallet and a keyring, you're in control of that information. That's self-sovereign. You are in control. When you use a Google wallet or an Apple wallet, that's a hardware wallet. You're not actually in control. So we are actually giving people the ability to control using biometrics and other factors, facial recognition, the ability to electronically control their online information, their data, their identity, the pieces that make them who they are online. And we do that by allowing them to assign avatars, digital representations of different facets of their personality. So, Jack, you do this show. You may be a family guy. You might have lots of friends. There's different pieces of who you are. You might be a collector or something that you're doing. You might be a sports bettor like the guys at Fans. There's lots of opportunities, and I may not want to share with my family the things I share with my friends or with work or anything else. So we allow people to share what they want, when they want, and with whom they want, simply and easily by using avatars and biometrics to control that data that they own.
Okay. So essentially, it's a digital identity.
Mhm.
Again, I guess self-sovereign means it's not, it's you
I'm
control
in
your.
control. I am in control.
Okay. Okay. And so how does the model work? Again, because if the market is obviously, billions of people,
Sure.
you only need to get traction with a couple million before the value, because, that would give the company, massive valuation.
Mhm.
What is the business model, and how do you get to that traction?
Well, the first thing is we give consumers, our constituents, we're a consumer to business business. So we're different than a business to consumer business. So we give consumers who are our constituents our products and services for free. We don't charge them. And so there's no hidden costs, there's no upsell, there's no freemium model. They get to use the Liquid Avatar and our services for free. And the reason we do that is because if you think about traditional social media, if anyone has been an advertiser or part of a group, there's a lot of fakes and bots and all kinds of things online. But because you use biometrics to join our system, it means you are you. One user, one account. So we know that there are real people in our system. So companies want to work with real people. So we might get offers and opportunities that we can bring you that fit your lifestyle. Now, we can never sell or rent your data. We never can do that. That's part of our mandate. But in the Liquid Avatar app, you can receive offers and opportunities and cash back and all kinds of goodies because marketers know it's more efficient to reach real people than a whole bunch of fake people. So they'll pay us a little piece to get to you of what they sell, and they can pass some of those marketing savings because they're only dealing with real people onto our consumers, giving them better deals. So it is really an ecosystem play, but our focus is getting users. And we signed and announced in the past few months a number of really great deals at the outset where we have access to I would think almost 70 million users.
Okay. And again, if you have traction with even one, like a million, that's kind of the magic number, which, the valuations take off. So in terms of the Liquid Avatar is basically what it's going to be. It's this avatar that everybody online, it's something which it belongs to you and people can't copy it, and that's your proof of identity. Okay. So okay. Now you put out a news release recently with you're launching kind of like a augmented reality initiative.
Right.
What is that all about?
Well, we think it's all about, self-sovereign identity. I like to akin to sort of a pill, right? It's hard to swallow at this point in time. It's still, different to people. I think of gamification and the avatars and everything else, sort of that peanut butter or cheese. If you were giving your dog or cat a pill, you'd surround it in something. So it's the easiest way to think about it. So augmented reality is a major opportunity to create value and new innovative approaches for our users to do things and for our commercial clients to reach them. So let me give you a couple examples. Imagine that for university students who have liquid avatars, we could create virtual scavenger hunts or stored value opportunities. Or you could go to a store and show your liquid avatar application, hold it up to the front door of a store, and it could show you coupons and discounts and hours and takeout menus. All that can be done in augmented reality. We can do scavenger hunts. You could send somebody from one liquid avatar user to another, fireworks and dancing bears as a greeting. You could take a picture with a celebrity standing beside you and they're really not there. So by adding these bells and whistles and tools to this opportunity with Liquid Avatar, we're making it much more fun and easier for people to assimilate down the road into self-sovereign identity.
Okay. And so what's and when will this launch exactly? This is with Imagine AR, right?
Yes. So we've got Liquid Avatar has been in a closed beta. We're weeks away from an open beta. We're already been approved by Apple and Google to put our application in the store, so we're already good there. And we've just started to receive our SDKs from Imagine AR, and we're already starting to design some AR applications. So we're we're eager to get this out in the next 60 days or so, because we have opportunities that are amassing with large organizations that have real people in real opportunities. So we believe there's huge opportunity to integrate AR into Liquid Avatar.
Okay, so we're going to open up for audience questions again. If you guys have any questions, just type them in. We'll ask them. So I want to, David, I want to ask you, what's the plan? Like if you could outline, what is your plan to grow Liquid Avatar to get that market adoption? Because again, it all comes down to this market. If you can get this market adoption, 1 million users, it's a home run.
Well, I will tell you that our team has built applications like this before, and we've had literally in one of our applications over 200 million users. So we know how to get there. I believe we know how to get there. Now, again, everything is different and everyone has to do their own due diligence, but we've had this experience before. So we're very, confident that we've done a number of announcements already. And, some of our partners like DLI out of Vancouver or Loop MTRX out of Vancouver and others have access to large groups within the travel industry or the sports industry. So we have connections already in those arenas. So we're really excited about those opportunities. So growth is the number one factor for us. And we're basically sitting, kind of coiling like I don't want to say like a snake, but coiling, ready to get out the gates. We're
spring.
We're ready to get, we're ready to get going.
Like the stock is coiling like a spring also. I mean, it looks very similar. Okay, so Kip is asking, 2 quick questions. What are you using the recent financing for? I guess use of proceeds. You raised a bunch of money. And he's asking, is the stock seeing pressure from warrant exercises?
Okay, so let's start with the recent financing. We're very fortunate with the support of Mackie and the community at large to do 2 financing in December. I kind of call that the Christmas miracle because you don't see a lot of financings happening in late December. But we were very fortunate, and we were not oversubscribed per se, but the interest was well over the amount, and we had to increase that effectively twice. The financing is for operations. We are not in a position yet where we're looking at acquisitions. This is for growth strategy because we believe, given our opportunities for margin and enterprise value by bringing on new users, is the best way to spend this initial money. So it's really laser focused for the business. With respect to warrants, yes, we are getting some warrant cashing, but having been in the public markets off and on for many years, when a stock accelerates, it's also got to consolidate. So it would there's the old sayings, but the faster it goes up, the opposite can happen. But I think where we are is we're in a good consolidation point in and around the 30-cent, 32-cent mark, and that is really exciting because if you think back just 5 or 6 weeks ago, we were 13.5 cents. So if we don't consolidate at a reasonable level, we consolidate in the mid-20s. Now we're consolidating in the late 20s, early 30s. We've got to do that. Otherwise, we don't have a plateau in which to grow from. So yes, we are getting warrant cashing, but a lot of that is from early investors who are, have been part of all of our networks. So I don't think a lot of pressure is coming from there. I think, there are people that are entering and exiting the market, and there's macro issues. But I think we are plateauing in this range, and we've got a lot more news to come up to help get us to the next level.
Yeah, it's funny. I think right now in the markets there's a lot of investors. I've noticed this recently. There's a lot of new investors coming into the markets now, right. And I think there is an expectation that the minute they buy the stock, the market knows that they own it, and they're entitled that the stock should be going up every day, at least 20% a day ad infinitum. In the real world, and I've explained that multiple times. It's like, stock is go up, then they consolidate, and then they break out again, or they don't go. But it's a natural phenomenon. So it's actually very impressive. The stock is consolidated at in the 30-cent range, which is phenomenal. And it's staying up there. The trend is still is up. It's not something which is coming down here.
And Jack, I just wanted to comment on that too. I mean, you can see our OTC listing that came to us with the reverse takeover, and that is, that isn't a full OTC QB listing yet. And we announced yesterday, I believe, that we brought on
eToro, right?
Yeah, we announced with eToro that we've brought on in conjunction with Mackey Canada, a U.S. financial services advisory, so that we are working and exploring the uplisting process. We've done OTC QB and QX listings in the past, so we know how to do that, and we're in that throes now. And again, it's about very few people in the U.S. know about us yet. I mean,
nobody knows about the U.S.
We haven't really even hit our stride yet. I mean, there's huge amounts of opportunity, and again, as we grow our enterprise value, we think that'll kind of create a vacuum that the stock will follow.
Okay. Let's see here. We got okay. You have any revenue projections for 21 yet?
No, we have not given guidance. I mean, I want to talk about that for a moment because it is in our online presentation, a little bit of information. There's two things that if you go to our websites, the KABN Holdco website or KABN Systems North America, KABNSystemsNA.com, you can get to our online presentation, and we offer two things. One is we offer a general sense of how we make revenue, and we think that we can generate, and again, subject to all forward-looking statements, somewhere between sort of $13, $14 and $40 per user. That's a significant amount of money. And on top of that, and that is potential. On top of that, we've also looked at comparables in our marketplace. And when you look at fintechs, because remember, we're also we have challenger bank opportunities. We've been approved by Visa to issue our own debit cards under the KABN brand. So because our users are verified. So when you look at companies like that, users can be worth somewhere from $125 to $1,000 each. So we have a potentially skyrocketing opportunity for enterprise value and a significant opportunity for revenue generation. But because we're not live yet, we have not given guidance, but we want to give people the opportunity that if you take the size of the market, you slice it up even small, you multiply it by some of those numbers, people can make their own decisions.
Okay, so we got an interesting crypto question.
Mm-hmm.
The internet president is asking, how soon can we expect KABN CC, I guess, credit card, and which is your debit, and we'll be able to transfer crypto onto it right away? How would it work if I have money in my Coinbase that I want to transfer onto the KABN card?
Okay, so there's three good questions there. So it's a debit card, it's not a credit card. So it is a banking card. So it is not a credit card. We're not extending credit. We're issuing the ability to use Visa wherever it's taken under the KABN brand and to earn cashback rewards from the KABN Cash platform. Now, with respect to digital currencies, while we are approved for digital currencies, we won't manage that process. It'll be managed by a third party. So if you have an account with some of our available third parties and they're authorized by our banking platform, you will be able to move digital currencies, and there's lots of them, including points, crypto, there's all kinds of different things, onto your card as cash. So that's easy. And then spend it anywhere that Visa is taken. But it has to be through an authorized vendor. We have not approached Coinbase yet, but they are on our radar screen. We have approached a number of parties, and we are looking at that right now.
Okay. Okay, so he's asking, David, can you, I guess he's trying to understand, what is the difference between, if I understand the question properly, what's the difference between the digital identity and the avatar? What's the difference?
That's a really good question because I appreciate the honesty, and I still don't get the whole avatar thing. The avatar thing is your profile pic, but you can have different profile pics. An avatar could be a computer-generated icon, or it could be a picture of your dog. An avatar is an icon. So think of your profile pic as an icon. So if you wanted to use your profile pic everywhere you use your avatar, hey, that's great. But if you wanted to use a digital representation of you, or a comic book character, or something that we have authorization to use, you can use that too. So we've made it gamified that you can choose what you want to use as your profile pic or avatar. So they're synonymous with each other. So that was a really good question.
Okay, David, this is this is really our first Q&A of 2021.
Mhm.
What's the big theme for KABN 21? What are your goals for this year, in terms of, building out the business, maximizing shareholder value?
Growth. It's all about growth. We know that if we grow users, we grow revenue opportunities, and we grow enterprise value. So it's a very simple premise. And we are a bit of a chameleon in that respect, because we are working with companies who are creating electronic wallets and credentials, whether they're on different platforms and different formats. We're working with companies who want to give their consumers better experiences because they're known users. Um, so we have an opportunity to partner with a lot of firms and give users an easy and effective and a simple way to manage their online identity and credentials. It's all about ease of use. I mean, social media made it easy for us to communicate to others. We're sort of, quote unquote, like the social media company for online identity.
Okay. Question here. Since I don't own my digital ID, can I sell my data using KABN? If yes, how would it work?
Well, again, there are, and there have been some that have come about and some that have not been stable. And there are a few really good ones. And I won't mention any names in particular. But if we had a data exchange connected as a partner, you could sell or rent your data. The answer is yes. It's yours. We don't own it. We might be the facilitator, but we don't own it. At the same time, I want to give a really good example that people might understand. Let's take a virtual hotelier, and we know some of the big companies that do virtual renting of rooms, and or a rideshare company. They don't really have a way to know who you are. They might ask you for a driver's license or a credit card, but is that really yours? So if they offered us the opportunity to give you a $50 credit so that you connected your digital identity to them, that would be a good thing. You would make that choice. That's an easy example. And in return, they may pay us up to $5 to do that. So it really is about you controlling. So if you choose to connect your data with others, you'll have the control and the ability to do that.
Okay. So David, let's kind of wrap up, and we'll get you back when the next big news event. Now, in terms of eToro, they're gonna get you the DTC listing and all that. What's the timeline of that?
Well, we're working on that ourselves with support from eToro, and we're already in the throes of that. The timeline is really based on FINRA for that, and we all know that is, generally speaking, up to 8 weeks. To be fair, that's fair, and we're in the throes of finalizing that document. And so we know the people at the OTC markets, and we've talked to them, and I think they can fast track us. But once we have our DTC eligibility, I think everything comes into play.
Yeah, because that really opens up the U.S. market
Sure.
for you. Okay, so in terms of what else do you have in the pipeline for the next quarter? What kind of market adoption? What can we see that speaks to market adoption also?
Sure, I'm sort of giving a check there, Cat's smile, because we have a lot in the hopper. I mean, our team is focused on execution, business development, and market. So coming in the next several weeks, you're going to see a lot of connect the dots announcements, we believe. I mean, the whole idea is, and I'll give a kind of a comment to an earlier question. Honestly, I don't really understand this whole digital ID thing, right? Well, I remember when my first internet business, I helped the banks create consumer applications for e-commerce in 1997. And we sort of developed the way that Canadians were able to shop online. And I remember family members coming to me and saying, no one's ever going to shop online, right? Really, no one is ever going to shop online. And if you think about it,
nobody believed it.
No. And so why would you believe that digital identity is the next big thing? Except we're all doing everything online. Our children, if they're young enough, are taking school online. We need to connect to government solutions to renew driver's licenses. We need to do all these things. We need to check in to events and hotels. And There are so many applications where anonymity does not work. So now the ability to create digital ID is a natural evolution of the next wave of the internet.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting because again, just like people did not believe that there would actually be shopping, people would take out their credit card and put it on the internet, and this is a fact. I mean, I remember I really didn't believe it was going to happen. I mean, maybe 50 years, but in 1998, whatever it was, I didn't believe it. In 99, it was already becoming maybe. Yeah. So in other words, just like that, I think a lot of people don't believe that this digital identity is important, and then all of a sudden it's going to become important, like very quickly. And so this is like this is kind of like a ground floor, basement level, foundation level opportunity to get in on the ground floor of a which is like a generational change wave coming in here. So David, here we go. Okay, so I'll ask this. This is a good question. So, how secure is the avatar compared to other form of digital ID?
Well, that's sort of a very open-ended question because most digital ID is not secure. So, we've got to qualify what digital identity is. We're not issuing the digital identity credential. Yes, we will support some and many variations, and we will help create certain ecosystems. But let's say a government issues you a digital driver's license. You've now got to carry that. And that digital driver's license will be connected to your digital identity. So unless you have both those things, both a digital identity and a digital driver's license, so that says, yes, you are you and this is your credential, it won't work. So it's not a very passive system. It's a very active system. And because we use biometrics starting with facial recognition, 99.9 to a certain degree will always recognize that user as owning that piece of identity because facial recognition is that strong today.
Okay, question here. Is KABN dead in the water if Google or Apple decide to pay you for your data?
No. I mean, I think if Google and Apple decide to pay for your data, KABN has a huge opportunity. KABN helps you manage and control your data. So if Google or Apple wanted to pay it, we'd help you facilitate it, and we'd probably pick up, sort of a intermediary fee. Bring it on. I say bring that on because that would be amazing to us. But there are regulations and rules. I mean, if anyone follows Google, they will no longer support third-party, cookies in the next year or so. So there are major changes, especially in California under the California Consumer Protection Act, that is changing the way data is controlled. And if you're, if the listeners want to look at something, look at GDPR or CCPA, because the laws are changing to make KABN and Liquid Avatar more prolific in the marketplace. We're not doing it on our own. Governments are changing it so that the users have control over their data. We're giving them tools and services to manage that. We're the intermediary. It's your data. You own it. A digital driver's license from a province or state, they'll issue it. We just help you manage and control it. So we're that intermediary. Think of us, and I'm going to give a comparison, which is well beyond our spectrum today. Google provides search data. They qualify search. They don't produce the websites. They don't do any of that. So imagine we're creating that functionality for everyone who has online identity. We're like the enhanced browser for digital identity. I mean, that's not really true, but it's a good way to look at it.
Okay. Question. It says, isn't KABN a way of, is KABN a way of hiding your digital identity the same as using incognito mode?
That's a really good question, but I don't think so because, when you use a credit card online, the presumption is you own that credit card. So you're already sort of incognito at that point, right? You say this is me and this is, but I could give a family member the ability to use my credit card, but this ties your identity to that data. So it's not about being anonymous; it's actually being out loud. So we're focused on the services and trends you need to be out loud. By virtue of that, there may be ways to stay private, and but we haven't explored those yet. But that is a good question.
Okay. So David, let's wrap up on, again, a final question, which I've asked you a million times, but I always like to ask anyway, because again, things are always changing, right? There's always new things happening in the market. So right now, January 14th, 2021, at this point in time, what are the top 3 reasons for investors to consider KABN?
Well, I think, first of all, it's the reach of our market. Online identity and self-sovereign ID is addressable to 100% of the online market. So we do not have to capture all of it. We just have to capture a very tiny slice. 2, if people do their due diligence research, you'll see that we have an exceptional team of people, and our technology is in the right space at the right time, and we are executing and growing. So I think we're worth a definite look, and we are what I believe is a future-proof stock, because people are not stopping to go online; they're putting more time online, and we're creating the services to help them engage online. So I think we're future-proofing ourselves.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So yeah, this is an interesting point. Okay, David, hey, I want to thank you for the update. And again, everybody, thank you for joining us for today's live stream, and we hope to see you all again very soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.